I've been involved as an advocate for working people for the last 40 years. Most of my career was working for two prominent international unions, the United Mine Workers of America and the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union, where I spent the bulk of my career as their director of negotiated benefits, and in the later part of my career as a special assistant to the president for multi-employer pension plans. 3 years ago, actually 3.5 years ago, I decided to step away from the United Food and Commercial Workers and take the opportunity while I was still healthy. I wish I could say younger, but while I was still healthy, and do some other things. I wanted to continue my work with the labor movement and in the pension community. So I decided up front that that was the only work I was going to do, and I would have a very simple business plan which was devoted to unions and pension plans and not doing work with any vendor or asset manager or anybody else involved in the industry. I really believe that being ethical and not having conflicts of interest is really important, and so I took that to heart, and that's the way I sort of prepared myself to be a consultant. Two things I wanted to share with you about my career is that generally I was involved as a crisis manager in collective bargaining, and when there were tough problems to solve, that was my signature, and I went into scores of bargains to settle serious problems or to settle labor disputes. And in addition to that, I had the opportunity since 1985 to serve on the board of trustees of approximately 15 different pension and health and welfare plans. This combination of experience, I think, has made me a more effective individual in the role of advising union leadership. Not only did I have to master the complexity and understand the plan designs that were being negotiated at the bargaining table, but then I had to administer them. I had to invest the assets. I had to understand government regulation and comply with that government regulation. And so I think that was, I was fortunate that I was able to gain experiences like that at a young age and build on it over time. As a result, I had other opportunities come my way through the labor movement, and in 2008, the then governor of the state of Maryland appointed me as a trustee of the Maryland State Retirement System, as a very large state fund. I did that work for 8 years. Frankly, I thought I was going to get an education on a big fund with an investment staff, and it turned out that I ended up giving some of the education because the public sector plans were not as sophisticated as I thought they might be. But it was a great experience, and I cherished the opportunity to serve the people of the state of Maryland. And then on the public policy side, I've had the opportunity to advise union presidents on prospective pension and health legislation. I've never been very excited about lobbying or working on Capitol Hill, even though I lived in Washington, D.C. for most of my adult life. There was something about what took place on Capitol Hill that didn't do a lot for me. Sometimes it's really necessary, and it's important to do the education work with the elected legislators and their staff. Most recently, I've been consulting with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. As you've read in the newspapers, they have a lot of serious problems with the pension plans that they sponsor. And I've been working on, for the last 3 years, on a piece of legislation, and was actually on Capitol Hill last week with some Senate staff trying to describe what we were hoping to accomplish and why they needed to support it. So that's been a fascinating journey as well. And then finally, I'll stop talking about myself here, but I just share with you the fact that for a 4-year period, I had the honor to serve on the advisory committee of the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation, where I had the opportunity to have a lot of interchange with the staff and the executive director of that agency. And as you know, that's the agency that backstops defined benefit pension plans. And it's also an agency in crisis. It's an agency that's running a $75 or $76 billion deficit today and growing. So that's not a good story. So I'm going to change gears here and start talking about some of the things that I've learned, especially over the last 15 years, that I wanted to share with you because I think they're important to your understanding of your retirement program and where things are going in the world of retirement in the United States.